In a land of dangers, plant-eating animals are always at risk, and never more so than at the time of their birth. Out on the open, they are vulnerable, and there are few places to hide. But luckily, these little ones are born to run. On the African plains, a tawpy antelope welcomes a new life. And so begins a desperate struggle. The clock is ticking. The baby must learn to run. Already, other youngsters in the herd have found their feet. But for this little one, the timing of his birth couldn't have been worse. A cheetah is watching. She has little ones of her own, and for their survival, she must make a kill. Only a few minutes old, she puts up a good fight, but she can't outrun the fastest animal. One's lost, but others survive. All over the plains, similar struggles are playing out. Though some will have a happier ending. The mare cleans and dries her baby, trying to remove all scent of the birth before it's detected by a predator. It's instinct for baby runners to find their feet. In minutes, she'll be able to walk, and in just a few weeks, she'll be keeping up with her mother at 60 kilometers per hour. Licking helps strengthen their bonds. They will remember each other's scent and sounds, vital for life in the herd, where it's easy to become separated. But the most prolific player in this African baby boom is the wildebeest. More than 300,000 are dropped in the space of a few weeks. All are desperate to find their feet. Among them, a little boy, just minutes old, already staggers around his mother. His life will be a never-ending march, and to survive, his only defense is to run. Birthing is a dangerous time for any mother, but herd animals have an inherent advantage, even in the South American Andes. When a guanaco is incapacitated, she knows other members of the group will be on the lookout for danger. Her thick fur needs to dry out to protect her from the freezing Andean winds. For all babies, the first few weeks are the most critical. They have a lot to learn about survival, and there are dangers everywhere. Guanaco enemy number 1, the puma. But she's spotted by a sentinel. The mother seems to draw the attack, and the calf runs for his life. The puma will go hungry today. Moose don't have the benefit of the herd for protection. But weighing 350 kilos, she's a formidable mother, capable of driving off most would-be attackers. Most hoofed animals have a single baby, but this moose has an insurance plan. She delivers twins. The calves have a reddish fur that will darken with age. She meticulously licks them clean, paying special attention to their umbilical cords to keep them free from infection. About the size of a beagle, the youngsters will have to master their spindly legs. Not only do they need to be able to run within hours of birth, but they will also master the art of swimming within their first 2 weeks. And that's going to require a lot of energy. For mammal babies, it's all about milk. Thanks to this fat and protein-rich power drink, moose calves can increase in weight by 1.5% per day. But after 6 weeks, it's time to branch out. The calves copy their mother, learning what to eat. The name moose comes from a Canadian tribe. It means twig eater, and the little one is finding out why. Some babies have a tough start in life. To make the most of a short northern winter, Arctic muskox drop their lambs in April, a time when there is still snow on the ground. Luckily, their thick fur, or kiviut, is among the warmest on Earth, protecting their little bodies. Baby runners use various techniques to keep their little ones safe. Quails are very vulnerable on the ground, but their cryptic camouflage helps them to disappear in the grass. These youngsters leave their eggs ready to run. There is no milk for them. From day one, they must feed themselves, though their parents give them constant tutorials on what leaves and seeds to eat. Deer go a step further. A roe deer kid with long, gangly legs is not the fastest creature on Earth. But when danger appears, his mother barks a warning. The kid, with his dappled markings, knows instinctively to lie perfectly still, hoping to go unnoticed. It seems the fox didn't notice the fawn and settled for a mouse. Of course, lying still is not without its risks. Farmers' fields can be dangerous places to hide out. Luckily, the little one seems to sense the danger and wobbles back to mother. His kind may be born to run, but it will take a few weeks to get up to speed. In the meantime, hiding is his best bet. Not all calves have the same strategy. For wildebeest, who must endlessly march in search of fresh grazing, there is no choice for the youngsters other than to follow the great herds. Waterholes are drying up and the herds flock around them. They quickly become deadly quagmires. But our little calf and her mother must risk the treacherous ground to drink. After struggling free of the mud, the calf realizes she's lost her mother. She tries to attach herself to a likely-looking female. But it's not her mother. More than half of the calves perish at this time. But the mother's bond to her calf is strong, and she searches for her infant. But can she find the right calf? 16% of the wildebeest deaths are down to nothing more than accidents, like falling or getting left behind. Gradually, the confusion of lost calves find their mothers. The female hears a familiar voice. But there is no time for a long greeting. The herd is moving on. In the chaos of the mass movement, there can be stragglers. This is not a good time to be alone. A little male has wandered from the herd. A cheetah wouldn't normally tackle prey as large as a wildebeest. The adults weigh 3 times more than it does and have been known to fight back. But a little one on its own is a sitting duck. Though they are born to run, wildebeest clock in at about 60 kilometers per hour. The cheetah tops 100. Being a youngster can be serious, but there is also time to play. The frolicking of red deer calves helps build their muscles and stamina. It's little more than a game at the moment, but a fit calf will have the best chances of survival. The Bambi Ballet. For boars, it's fun to have a lot of brothers and sisters. One sow can have up to 12 piglets. Like turbocharged humbugs, they dash around the forest, truly born to run. Mum interrupts the wrestling match. School's not all fun and games. The piglets must learn what to eat, which luckily for boars is not very restrictive. They'll eat almost anything from fungi to carrion. But this gang are only a few weeks old and soon lose interest in lessons. Boar society is female-led, and within the sounder there is a strong hierarchy. Even at this tender age, the youngsters are working out who among them is top dog. When they do get hungry, they have an easier option: Mum. She'll provide milk for their first 3 months. Though she does require some manners at the dinner table. Now the games pay off. The piglets that won the play fights will be able to command the best places for dinner. And there is one other thing baby animals do a lot of. Sleeping is a chance to recharge their batteries. The spotted fallow deer enjoy a lazy afternoon, but it's boring for fawns. Mounting one another in play is also a life lesson. They are playing at being grown-ups, learning social etiquette that will help them in later life to win mates and have fawns of their own. But once again, kids running off makes life hard for mothers. The does bark, each with a distinct voice, to try and find their little ones. Mum checks, but this one isn't hers. Nope, this one isn't either. The little fawn has slept through his alarm. But certainly seems pleased to see Mum and quench his thirst. Running can be as much about interacting with each other as it is escaping from predators. It's encouraged from day one. Childhood can pass quickly. These chamois will be fully grown in less than a year. The males will have to leave the herd, and so make the most of the company now. The herd has close bonds. If a kid is orphaned, other females will even try to raise it themselves. Like most runners, they can be a bit highly strung. It's wise to stay alert. You never know when danger might threaten. But with someone on watch, it's all fun in the guanaco nursery. Without horns and antlers like antelope and deer, guanaco and their camel cousins use boxing and nipping to settle disputes, and it's good to get in training from a young age. But then what every youngster dreads: bath time. In the freezing Andes, there isn't water on tap, so they dust bathe. A healthy coat is the only way to beat the weather. And it's never more important than at the poles, where every season can pass in a day. The ultimate all-weather coat belongs to the muskox. Though in summer, it molts out in great clumps. For the hot-headed oxen, it's important not to overheat in summer. This is the time of the rut. Time to go head to head. Though they may not look born to run, these heavyweights can go faster than 40 kilometers per hour. Muskox have built-in crash helmets. 7 centimeters of bone encase the brain, cushioned by a horny mass known as the boss, dense matted hair 10 centimeters thick, a natural shock absorber. The impact has the force of a car ramming a brick wall at 27 kilometers an hour. Eventually, one of the bulls realizes he's been out-butted. This is muskox tradition, and the young kids will soon develop crash helmets of their own. They get in some practice. Sometimes picking the wrong opponent. He might have won the fight, but the victors also get a bit hot under the collar. He can't take his coat off, so there is only one thing for it. And for this flock, bath time means family fun. The poolside games help to keep the herd fit and healthy. Their lives are spent constantly on the move, running to cover a vast territory, over 200 square kilometers. It's the only way to find enough to eat. Though it's not often they seem to run for fun. It takes a while to clean and dry the fur. Though born with the woolly kiviot, it will take months before the little one's long guard hairs grow in. In the meantime, if he gets too cold, he shelters against mother. Her dress-like fur can curtain him, portable protection against the wind. The summer season is short, so the lamb must race to put on weight before winter. He'll gain half a kilo a day. He was able to eat solids when just a few weeks old, but will still suckle throughout his first year. With a good layer of fat for insulation, this little one doesn't look like he was born to run, but when pushed, muskox can run twice the speed of the fastest human sprinter. Happy family life. The protection of the herd is what has enabled them to survive in the harshest conditions on the planet and to remain unchanged since the days that mammoths roamed the earth. While Arctic muskox struggle to keep cool in the summer, it's winter in the southern hemisphere. Now the guanaco's fleecy wool is really put to the test. Like their camel cousins, they are good at coping with extremes. When the mountains freeze, they can survive extended periods without water. They have another adaptation to help weather their high-altitude home. 4 times more red blood cells than a human to enable them to extract oxygen from the thin air. Sticking with the herd, they act as windbreaks for one another, while they brush snow to expose vegetation. The seasons shape the fortunes of those born to run. It's getting hot on the plains, and the herds need water. The zebra foal is looking strong and healthy despite the perilous march, and she needs to be if she's to survive the next few hours. The herd's jumpy as it approaches the waterhole. The young wildebeest looks a bit bewildered as he picks his way through the throng. The zebras seem confident and drink first. They are not expecting company. It's a dangerous time for the inexperienced youngsters. Thanks to her powerful legs, she'll live to learn from the experience. Crocodiles are patient animals. They know the thirsty will return. Now it's the wildebeest's turn to drink. The youngster can sense the tension. A careless calf pays the ultimate price. With more than 2,000 kilos of bite force, the outcome is devastating. Our young male flees with the herd, but sooner or later, he will have to face his fears and drink. The herd regroups. Despite the dangers, the crocodiles are less of a threat than dehydration. Shaken, but not stirred, he must try again. The young male tries to get ahead of the queue. Water at last. He was born to run, with strong legs, fast reactions, and a powerful heart. Only his speed can save him now. This time, he was lucky. But this will not be the last time he will have to face this foe. Far from the heat and the drought of the savannah, late summer marks the breeding season for roe deer. The kids have doubled in size and are now enjoying greens for dinner. This is the first time they have met a buck. Because the roe have small home ranges, this is probably their father. The male plays no role in raising the youngsters, and when she sees him, their mother ushers them away. Though they are 3 months old, they still get the occasional drink of milk, but not for much longer. By the end of the summer, they will be completely weaned, but will probably hang out in a family group through winter. Male roes can breed at just 12 months old, but to stand a chance of winning access to a female, this buck's likely to be at least 3 years older. The young buck seems both fascinated and intimidated by the sight of the male. He seems to wonder where his own antlers are. The male isn't interested in the fawns, though. He wants their mother. Milk time is interrupted. Once the female is mated, she'll be keen to wean her twins as soon as she can. The male may have to pursue the female for several days before she's finally ready to mate. Roe deer have a unique survival strategy. Though she's mated, she will delay the formation of an embryo. She can put its development on hold. If over the coming months she faces a tough winter, she may decide to terminate the pregnancy to avoid draining her precious resources. However, if she can find enough to eat and is in good shape, she'll begin the pregnancy in late winter, ready to give birth in spring. It's a strategy that means she'll only give birth when she's fit enough to give her youngsters the best start in life. Looking at her almost full-grown twins, it seems to be a technique that works. It's an uphill struggle for all youngsters, but on the Serengeti, the greatest challenge lies ahead. The young wildebeest is doing well, but because his herd numbers in the millions, they must keep constantly on the move, following the rains to fresh pasture. Without their migration, they'd overgraze an area and starve. They know where to find fresh food, but there is an obstacle in their way. The Mara River, currents and crocodiles. It will be the ultimate test. The sheer volume of animals massing behind them pushes the herd leaders to take the plunge. calf has little choice but to go with the flow. The steep banks crumble. The struggle is relentless. Some members of the herd will fall, but the majority can make it, just as long as they keep on running. Three 3,000 wildebeest will perish on this last epic chapter of their migration. A huge death count, but a drop in the ocean compared to the 2 million animals that undertake the journey. The male slips past the distracted croc, as do countless others. Now the bank becomes a death trap, with even more bodies crammed together and getting in each other's way. It's easy to get trampled in the chaos. The calf is pinned against the shore. He finds himself back in the river. A firm footing at last. Before him lies the promised land. Endless grazing, plenty of companions, and above all, room to run.